Hello, it's Jim Hutchens for the Jerusalem Connection Spot Report for this week. As I come to you this week, Jerusalem is under siege. That's the way it's been described by many of the observers of what's going on there today. It's vehicular terror. It's a car intifada, where Palestinian terrorists are taking their cars and their minivans and plowing into crowds of people, killing and maiming as many as they can. One 3-month-old baby was murdered by a Palestinian terrorist driving his car into a crowd that included this child. It's ongoing as we speak. Eli Hertz has referred to it as a bloody background. He says Jerusalem and the Jewish people are so intertwined that telling the story of one is like telling the history of the other. For more than 3,000 years, Jerusalem has played a central role in the history of the Jews, culturally, politically, and scripturally, and spiritually, a role first documented in the scriptures. All through the 2,000 years of the diaspora, Jews have called Jerusalem their ancestral home. This sharply contrasts with the relationship between Jerusalem and those who inflate Islam's links to the city. Jerusalem is never mentioned once in the Quran. It's all through the Holy Scriptures. The Arab rulers who controlled Jerusalem through the 50s and 60s demonstrated no religious tolerance in a city that gave birth to two major religions, Western religions. That changed after the Six-Day War in 1967, when Israel regained control of the whole city. Symbolically, one of Israel's first steps was to officially recognize and respect all religious interests in Jerusalem, but the war for the control of Jerusalem and its religious sites continues to this day as we speak. Palestinian Arab terrorism has targeted Jerusalem, particularly in an attempt to gain control of the city, particularly the old city, from Israel. The result is that they have turned Jerusalem, the city of peace, into a bloody battleground. And they have thus forfeited their claim to share in the city's destiny. So it continues. Who shall get the city, the old city? Shall Jerusalem be under the control of Jews or under the Palestinians? Well, I would suggest to you God has some interest in this issue. God says, for example, in Psalm 137 and verse 5 and 6, he says, "If I forget you, O Jerusalem, let my right hand forget its skill. Let my tongue cling to the roof of my mouth, if I do not remember you, if I do not consider Jerusalem my highest joy." That's what God says about Jerusalem. He says through the prophet Isaiah, Isaiah chapter 49, verse 15, 16, "Can a mother forget the baby nursing at her breast and have no compassion on the child that she has born? Though she may forget, I will not forget you. See, I've engraved you on the palms of my hands. Your walls are ever before me." That's what God says about Jerusalem. Through the prophet Zechariah, God says this regarding Jerusalem: "I'm going to make Jerusalem a cup that sends all the surrounding peoples reeling. I'll make Jerusalem an immovable rock for all the nations, and all who try to move it will injure themselves." This is Zechariah chapter 12. Verse 6, "On that day I'll make the leaders of Judah like a fire pot and a wood pile, like a flaming torch among sheaves, and they will consume right and left all the surrounding peoples. But Jerusalem shall remain intact in her place." That's what God says about Jerusalem. If you know the scriptures with regard to Jerusalem, you know the script that is guiding God's hand with regard to Jerusalem. He's in control. Till next week, Od Ki Yavo Shiloh, until Messiah comes, Yivareka Yahweh. God bless you. God bless yours.